Federal government inaugurates Inter-Ministerial Committee to enforce Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy. Brand crude oil theft, a capital offense. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria enjoin federal government. And correspondent gives update on prices of perishable foods in Kebbi State. Good evening. Welcome to News Desk Count 6 here on Nta News24. We're broadcasting live from our studio here in Abuja. I am Claire Adelabu Abdurazak. And in an effort to cut down of cost of Nigeria's participation in the upcoming COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan from November 11 to 22nd, 2024, President Bola Tinubu has approved the cutting down of costs worth 10 billion naira and the establishment of climate accountability and transparency portal for Nigerians to have access to expenses that will be incurred during the meeting. Now, presidential spokesman Jurin Gelali, while briefing State House correspondents, said this is coming considering significant waste in the last meeting in Dubai. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jubrila reports that the Office of the Special Presidential Envoy on Climate Change and the National Council on Climate Change has concluded an exercise aimed at ensuring implementation of measures that would ensure that whatever is spent ahead of COP29 has a function that will lead to the economic empowerment of our people and the economic development of Nigeria. And ahead of the COP29, the committee has also resolved that there will be no showcase pavilion as part of the federal government's cost reduction efforts, recognizing that what can't be achieved in a showcase pavilion can also be achieved in a far more economically efficient mode by effectively utilizing the delegation office, which is saving nearly $500,000, costing less than 10% of the cost of the showcase pavilion. And we have a story just coming in now. It says Vice President Kashim Shettima has appealed for more cooperation between Nigeria and Tanzania in shared aspirations for continental growth and unity. And our State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jubrila reports that the Vice President stated this when he received the former Tanzanian President Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete at the presidential villa in Abuja. Commending Tanzania's leadership legacy, Vice President Shettima says it is important to foster stronger economic and social ties between the two countries, especially within the framework of the African Continental Free Trade Area. He also appreciates the Tanzanian government's support for Nigerian businesses in Tanzania, as well as citing companies owned by Nigerians. And we will continue to bring you developments from this story as we get them. In other stories now, an interministerial committee to enforce the recent Supreme Court judgment granting final autonomy to local governments in the country has been inaugurated by Secretary to the federal government, Senator George Akume. A statement by Director Information and Public Relations, John Imohiose, says the SGF is the committee chairman, while key ministers are also on the committee, along with representatives of state governments and all local governments. The mandate, according to the statement, is to implement the constitutional provision and recognition of local government as a third tier of government. And security experts have recommended that crude oil theft should be made a capital offense in Nigeria. Now, while suggesting ways of tackling crude oil theft on Good Morning Nigeria, they also urge state governments in the Niger Delta region to deliver good governance to secure the collaboration of communities who can't help in combating crude oil theft and vandalism. Kemini Williams has the report.
Nigeria lost an average of 437,000 barrels of crude oil per day between January and July 2024 due to theft, vandalism and other criminal activities. Negative impact on the country's economy, the environment and security is well documented. The military gave assurances of their determination to deliver the mission to end crude oil theft in Nigeria.
The laws are also not stringent enough. So that level of deterrence, knowing that if I'm caught doing this, I might end up in jail for 15 years, it's not there. So even when arrests are made, people are given a slap on the wrist. So in itself, it doesn't deter people from going into this level of criminality. So we still need to look at the laws. Even the infrastructures, the pipelines, some of them are very old, been there since 60s. They also need to be upgraded.
I have interacted with some of the people in some of these communities. And I believe that government till now have not done much in terms of buying these communities to understand that this is our commonwealth. That is why they can aid and support whoever is coming to do whatever illegal business in those places.
The Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, which is part of the mechanism set up by government to fight the crime, says they identified 500 illegal bunkering sites and arrested 1,250 oil theft sponsors in the last 3 years.
And in all the 36 states of the Federation, we have a command, and we have a squad called the Anti-Vandal Squad, and they are highly trained and fully armed to combat menace of pipeline vandalism. In the last 3 years, we've been able to arrest and destroy about 500 illegal bunkering sites and refineries.
While the government is still ramping up its efforts, security officials and experts say factors such as lack of a sophisticated monitoring systems and poor intelligence have limited the expected outcomes.
First is the terrain. The terrain is very challenging. Swampy, high-dense areas, forested.
They had suggestions on how to make the campaign more effective to curb oil theft in Nigeria, including making it a capital offense. They so believe alleviating the poverty of oil-producing communities through good governance, as well as deploying contemporary technology and security operations, will aid the process.
Especially now that we have a president with the political will enough to give this marching order to the armed forces to say put an end to oil theft. I think it will help that marching order if he sends an executive bill to the National Assembly to the effect that this should make a treasonable offense with capital punishment as the consequence.
The military gave assurances of their determination to deliver on the mission to end crude oil theft in Nigeria. In Abuja, Kemini Williams, Nta News.
And operatives of the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder Port Harcourt have dismantled an illegal refining site where an estimated 2 million litres of adulterated petroleum products are refined daily within major creeks in Rivers State. Kingsley Amajiri reports that the syndicates are adopting a flexible operational tactics following the sustained battle from security agencies.
This is one of the successful operations of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder in the execution of the Chief of Naval Staff directive to clear its area of operation of activities of illegal oil bunkering. It took a journey on the waters, then a walk through this narrow mangrove to get to this hideout where the illegal refining is taking place. The expanse of area where this illegal oil refining is taking place tells a story of a cartel involved in this illicit deal. The syndicate tapped from abandoned oil wellhead and siphoned the crude through a well-laid-out pipeline to their refining site.
As the operation is still ongoing, they have destroyed over 500 drums containing over 200 litres of AGO, amounting to over 2 million litres of AGO. And the operation is still ongoing.
The economic saboteurs have also adopted new strategies of using drums.
The oil thieves has moved away from a normal way of using metal storage tank to cook and refine illegally stolen crude oil to AGOs and other byproducts. They are now using drums to do the refining, and that offers them some tactical advantage in the sense that the drums are cheaper to construct and very easy to dismantle.
The Nigerian Navy says it has so far destroyed over 500 of these drums. As at the time of this report, the crude oil is still dropping into the river from the wellhead, with its attendant implications on the ecosystem and the natural habitats. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, Nta News.
And former Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete is urging African leaders to ensure democracy functions for unity and security to thrive on the continent. And this was during a lecture, the 32nd participant, of course, of the National Defense College. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
105 officers from the Nigerian Armed Forces and 19 others from allied countries have completed training at the National Defense College, Abuja. The 11-month course marks a transition to a higher level of command and control.
Before going, we need to think out of the box and develop strategies that will enhance national unity and development in Nigeria, as well as in other African countries and Africa in general.
Distinguished graduates of National Defense College Course 32, it is therefore my sincere hope that as you navigate through your career having been duly equipped as strategic leaders and thinkers, you will individually and collectively seek ways of heralding solutions to advance the tenets of democracy as it relates to facilitating Africa's unity and development.
Delivering the graduation lecture titled Democracy Beyond the Ballot Box, a pathway to Africa's unity and development, Tanzania's former president knows that leaders should ensure democracy contribute to enhancing the private sector, charting untapped potentials of the youth and women, while increasing the state's accountability to its citizens.
To appreciate democracy, one needs to look at both the process and the results. Focusing only on results or only on process is being myopic, to say the least. One common flaw in this respect is to focus on elections as the metric of democracy, instead of looking at elections as a continuum of the democratic process.
He stressed that at the end of the day, it is about making democracy work for the people. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And police officers are being challenged to educate themselves with relevant policy documents in order to avoid infringing on the fundamental rights of the citizens and unnecessary litigations. Assistant Inspector General of Police is on 6 Headquarters Calabar, AIG Jonathan Toworu, stated this at the decoration ceremony of 12 newly promoted officers from the inspectorate cadre to that of superintendent.
Personnel and the public is as a result of inadequate knowledge, and the AIG Zone 6 is challenging the newly promoted officers from Inspector to Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP, to avail themselves with necessary information on Public Service Rule, the Constitution, and Criminal Justice Act of Cross River State, as well as improve themselves educational-wise to build trust and restore public confidence as the lead agency for internal security in the country.
You cultivate the confidence, you build trust within the public and the institution, and you will see that we'll all be happy, because development can only take place when there's security.
The newly promoted officers appreciate the IGP for the honor done them and promise to justify their elevation.
I will justify this rank and this confidence bestowed on me.
Officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force have been commended for their efforts during the End Bad Governance protest, and this promotion will serve as a motivation for greater heights in the force. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
You're watching News Desk Count 6 on Nta News 24. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, the Nigeria Immigration Service has vowed to stamp out indiscipline and corruption from its ranks. Controller General of the Immigration, Kemi Nanda, read the Riot Act at a sensitization workshop in Abuja aimed at building a value culture. Victor Azu was there.
Some recent incidents involving personnel of the Nigeria Immigration Service is threatening to drag the reputation of the service in the mud, and its leadership is not having it. This sensitization workshop, aimed at value reorientation, also affords the Comptroller General of Immigration an opportunity to read the Riot Act.
It is absolute zero tolerance to corruption. That era is gone, never to be seen again. There will be consequences.
Soft but tough, it's a stance that endears her to anti-corruption agencies.
The CG Immigration and Management are on the same page with Mr. President in the fight against corruption.
Done with anti-corruption, there's one more worry for the immigration boss: border security. And with heads of border control commands in the room, the CGI has a message.
We must all sit up. Border policing, we must be on top of it.
This is the second anti-corruption program at the Nigeria Immigration Service in as many months. In Abuja, Victor Azu, Nta News.
And let's take you now to Kebbi State, where prices of perishable foods are on the decline in the various markets. And our correspondent Usman Abdullahi Shehu, who visited the main market in Kebbi, reports that this brought a big sigh of relief to the people.
With scarcity of tomatoes due to a pest infestation and high prices of grains and other food items. For example, tomatoes and peppers were not available in the market at all, while the prices of grains such as beans, millet, corn and rice soared as high as 170,000 naira, 80,000 naira and 95,000 naira respectively. But today there is a sigh of relief as the harvesting season of some of these crops is around the corner. The price of tomatoes, for instance, has significantly dropped because the harvest has started, making them affordable for many households. On a visit to Birnin Kebbi Central Market, we found out that a basket of tomatoes now sells for between 35,000 naira and 40,000 naira, down from 130,000 naira sold just a month ago. Sellers attributed the price decrease to the onset of the rainy season in producing areas. The prices of perishables are dropping due to increased production by farmers in the northern part of the country. A sack of pepper was sold for 150,000 naira. But now the price has decreased to 35,000 naira. However, pepper and onions remain expensive. People are not happy that the price of grains are still high.
For example, 1 major of beans is about 3,000 naira. And before, this was not the amount we used to buy it.
At least, nothing. Let there be food. Food is the major thing.
A bag of foreign rice now sells for 75,000 naira and 82,000 naira depending on the quality, while the local rice goes for 58,000 naira to 60,000 naira. Other staple food like maize, millet and beans are still pricey. The people are hopeful that government will continue to address the growing challenges of food scarcity and essential commodities. In Birnin Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu.
All right, next up is in Borno State, where Governor Babagana Omara Zulum has disbursed more than 209 million naira to 170 primary health care centers across 27 local government areas of the state, with a directive to local government chairmen to ensure functionality of primary health care system. The occasion was held at the Government House, Maiduguri, where the governor symbolically presented checks to selected healthcare facilities from the 3 senatorial zones. Here is Mohammed Goni's report.
Leadership of the Borno State Contributory Healthcare Management Agency and that of State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, chairman of the 27 local government areas, as well as primary healthcare coordinators and facility managers were brought together to ensure synergy in the management of the primary healthcare system. Governor Bagana Omar Zulum, who announced plan to rehabilitate all the primary healthcare centers across the 27 local government areas, also charged primary healthcare coordinators and facility managers to be dedicated to their responsibilities by ensuring quality service to the people.
chairman and the Department of Primary Health Care of the local government councils are advised to monitor utilizations of funds coming to the primary health care facilities. And primary health care development agencies should declare the amount to local government chairman in written for transparency and accountability.
This occasion marks an important milestone in our collective efforts to ensure that every person in our state has access to quality healthcare services.
Executive Secretary of the State Contributory Healthcare Management Agency, Dr. Saleh Abbakaza, and the Executive Director of the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Professor Mohamed Arab Alaji, cleared the air on some issues relating to the services of the agencies. Mabar Local Government Chairman Mohamed Aji, on behalf of the 27 local government councils, assured the state authorities of their commitment to ensure prudent management of the fund disbursed. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, Nta News.
Now, between 2020 and 2024, there have been 49 reported incidents affecting humanitarian workers. In 2024 alone, no fewer than 26 humanitarian workers in Nigeria were reported to be kidnapped, ambushed and assaulted while carrying out their duties. Now, this was stated by the Federal Commissioner of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Tijani Aliu Ahmed, while briefing the press in Abuja. He also expresses the federal government's commitment towards protection of aid workers who put their lives on the line.
As a nation, Nigeria has been deeply affected by conflicts that have displaced millions and created an urgent need for humanitarian assistance. Our country is home to all of us, an organization who work tirelessly to bring relief to those affected by crisis. I call upon all stakeholders to intensify our efforts to protect humanitarian workers and civilians in conflict zones.
The Federal Commissioner also commended humanitarian workers under the Commission for their resilience, bravery and service to humanity, and urged them to continue to advocate for a peaceful society for all. As arrangements gear up for the 25th anniversary of the National Hospital, the Apex Health Center is soliciting support of the NTA for the success of the Silver Jubilee celebration. Elizabeth Omori reports that the Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, during a meeting assured the management of the hospital of unflinching support of the media organization.
The National Hospital for the past 25 years has been committed to delivering high-quality patient care and advancing medical research. Having achieved so much in the health sector over the years, it's time to roll out programs to celebrate achievements in providing comprehensive medical services. And this, the Chief Medical Director of the hospital says, will be achieved with the support of the foremost media organization, the NTA.
Collaborating with the NTA, which has the largest viewership, I would say, in the continent, means that we'll be able to now show the whole world what we are able to do.
Director General, NTA, assured the management of the hospital of necessary support to amplify activities of the care center.
The NTA is committed to using our platforms to further amplify the success of the National Hospital and to bring to light the remarkable stories of healing and care that emerge from your institution.
Activities lined up for the commemoration of the anniversary will kick off on the 2nd of September 2024. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
All right, let's remind you again of our major stories. Federal government inaugurates Interministerial Committee to enforce Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy. Brand crude oil theft, capital offense. Gets on Good Morning Nigeria and join federal government. The correspondent gives update on prices of perishable foods in Kebbi State. And the remains of Yahuza Salisu, an NTA staff attacked by hoodlums, have been buried at the Gudu Cemetery after a janaza prayer at the National Mosque in Abuja. Late Yahuza Salisu, a driver with the NTA News24, was on duty when he was attacked along CBN and Sahad Stores Road, en route Lugbe, Monday night by hoodlums who stabbed him to death and dispossessed him of his phones. As to tradition in Islam, Janaza prayer was observed at the National Mosque to pray Allah for the repose of his soul and for the final abode, the grave, where every Muslim retires after death, was where the remains of late Yahuza were laid to rest.
To attend his Janaza.
This is the type of person that really leave us at the time when we need such people. So the only thing we can do that we pray. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him.
Well, I know Yahuza as a man, very gentle and very quiet. A man that in fact will never raise his voice, more especially to elders.
Concerning you looking for his assistance or any of his kind, Yahuza doesn't resist. He's truly a human being. He lived by examples.
Very, very optimistic, in line with what God has said. For those who died in this unfortunate incident, Al-Jannatul Firdaus will be his final abode.
And we say amen to that, and may his gentle soul rest in peace. You can catch up with more news later this evening on the network service at 9, and of course on NTA International at 7. And that's the end of News Desk on NTA News 24. From me and the news crew, good night.